What time is it?
Okay, we have some fabulous live music later on, but right now, here's the kind I prefer.
All right, we've got a West Coast Styles exclusive here. We've got Mr. Terrace Martin in the house.
What's
Terrace,
up? What's up?
man, brother, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a
It's all
minute since
good.
we spoke. And man, I'm excited, man. I know you've been up to a lot of good things lately, and we're just gonna get into it. Let's go over your history a little bit. I mean, for folks that don't know, I mean, me and you go back. I met you in 2004. Problem took me to meet you aboard Snoop Dogg's bus. You were touring with him at the time, and at that time you were just still finding your lane in this game. As a musician, as a producer, you weren't really out there yet, but you were working with Dogg already. Why don't you take me back to some of those early years when you were starting off with Snoop in 2004?
Yeah, I started with Snoop. That by the time I started with Snoop, I think in 2001. And that tour was special because I remember that was the How the West Was Won tour.
Yes, with the Game.
With Game, and that was Game's first run as well. So that was exciting. You know, man, it was just always. I mean, it was like college. I call it. It was like school. It was just learning so much from an icon, a legend like Snoop that has like shifted the culture so many times and just been a part of other huge successes and things of higher magnitude, crazy things, and just being next to him, man, and just wanting to learn everything I could possibly learn from him. It was joyful, man. I wouldn't take none of it. I don't have any bad times with Snoop, Jazz, or Corrupt, or none of them. Even the gangster shit that was going on with just outside evils, you know what I'm saying, trying to penetrate and different things like that. But it was smooth, man. It was a growing experience, and I thank God for Snoop every day. He taught me so much about Quincy Jones. He taught me so much about music history, soul music, Detroit, why Motown is important, why gospel is important to the blues babies, and the blues babies had the jazz babies. Like, he taught me so much about Black music that it was just like, it was, I look at Snoop on such a high magnitude because of what he taught me. He instilled in me,
Yeah. Let's rewind a little bit. Just going back a little bit into your history, you learned music in Watts, the high school. What high school was that? You learned jazz?
Well, I grew up in a house of jazz. Like, my father's a jazz musician. By the time I got to high school, I was already playing, but I went to Lock High.
Yeah, that's right. Lock High is what it hit my mind, but Lock High.
Yeah, I didn't learn jazz there. It just, that was the place that really nurtured that with Reggie Andrews, and was able to take what I knew to a higher level and to further extents with theory and reading music and being able to sight read and play multiple instruments and be able to work in the workforce of an artist and a musician, to not just play jazz, but to play all styles of music. It's only two kind of music that Reggie Andrews believed in, and that's good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Just good and bad music. So Lock High was the place that really nurtured me to really love and learn to love. Like, I learned to figure out quickly going to Lock what I loved about something that somebody else would say was not good. I wouldn't focus on what was not good. I would focus on what is there to love about the song, or what is there to love about the situation, and kind of aim all my energy towards that. So Lock High and Reggie Andrews really helped develop that part of me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But you had a run-in with Diddy early on, didn't you?
With who?
With Diddy? P. Diddy?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Diddy, I think I was in 12th grade, and it was graduation week. It was graduation week, and everybody's getting prepared, cap and gown, and so excited to be graduating. And then I get a call from my godmother, which was like managing a lot of artists, wrote a lot of songs, and she hooked me up with Diddy. He was looking for a saxophone player, and he was like, "Yo, can you can you make it down to the Soul Train Awards? And I was like, yeah, I can make it down to the Soul Train Awards. And I left school. I didn't even graduate that day. I just left. I didn't graduate that week because we had rehearsal for the Soul Train Awards, and Biggie had just died, you know what I'm saying? So
wow.
it was intense with rehearsals and scheduling and everything. So it was a thing, But yeah, that was my first professional employer. Later on, did a lot of TV shows with him, and I still talk to Diddy. I love Puff. Definitely a huge mentor in my life, and installed a lot of great and powerful things into me that I'm forever grateful for him as well.
Yeah.
So at that particular Soul Train Awards, you did a big band performance of All About the Benjamins, correct? What was that like?
That was, for me, just being engulfed in hip hop and knowing what's up and being a Death Row fan and a Bad Boy fan, it was like a dream come true just to be able to be on the stage with Puff. But Puff is the first one that really exposed me to the possibility, it can happen if you work hard. He's the first one that when I was on that stage, I seen so many stars that I admired walking through that building, and I never been that close to celebrities at that time in my life. Well, at least not the celebrities that I would be listening to, and I just Puff really exposed me to the ball game, I should say. You know what I'm saying? And I liked it. I liked how people were smiling, and I liked how the music was nice in there. I liked all the positives to all the whole game, but I had never seen that high level until I got with Puff and everything. Like I didn't even know what champagne was, I didn't know what none of that was,
Were you starstruck at all?
Yeah, I was definitely starstruck. Definitely. I mean, look, it was my hero. Puff was my hero. Snoop was my hero at the time. These were my heroes. I was a hip hop kid. Like this is I play jazz. I love jazz, but the music of my time is not jazz. The music of my time was that. So I'm knowing what's up. Like I love it. When Biggie got murdered in Los Angeles, I felt so weak that night. I cried that night. I felt bad. Like I'm really, Styles, I'm with this shit. This is me. So it's like I was always starstruck. Even when I walk around Puff and Snoop and everybody, even Kendrick, everybody I walk around, I'm like, wow, that's crazy, man. Like I'm excited to be around, and I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to give. I'm excited I'm just excited to be alive and to be in the presence of other creative people at a high level.
Now, if you were starstruck for Diddy, I can only imagine how starstruck you were for Quincy Jones. Why don't you tell me like your first experience with Quincy Jones, please?
My first experience with Quincy Jones was I was on tour in my early 20s with Snoop, and we had to go to New York for like a month or something. Back then, we used to fly and go to New York a long time because there was a lot of studios and different artists, and so we would stay in New York for these long periods of time. And Snoop just started talking about jazz and different things like that, and I would mention to him, man, Quincy Jones, my hero, man. I really want to meet him, man. Like he's my hero. Like, oh my God, Quincy, the dude back on the block, the Michael Jackson stuff, the Ray Charles stuff, the Frank Sinatra stuff, the Sonny Stitt stuff, the Clark Terry stuff. Like, Quincy Jones, like the arranger, the amazing trumpeter, the idealist, the brand, everything. Quincy Jones, I really want to just like be in his presence. And a few weeks later after that, we came back to LA. We was working at a record plant, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but I don't know. But out the blue, it's weird how energy works. Out the blue, like Quincy Jones called his phone, and Snoop was in the booth, and he put it on speaker, and he said, record this. And it was him and Quincy, and they was just talking about life and everything. And then out the blue, Snoop says, I got somebody I need you to meet. I need you to meet him. This is the cat. I'm investing a lot of time into him, and I would like for you to meet him. And Quincy hooked it up, and we ended up meeting. And I ended up, producing some records for him, and I'm still working with him right now. Just talked to him the
Yeah.
other day. Still working with him right now. Always. So Snoop, That's another thing. Snoop. Not only did Snoop change my life, but he exposed me to other things that changed my life. Like he never
Mhm.
stopped anything. That's why everything goes back to Snoop with me so much in my whole life. No matter how far you think
Yeah.
it's removed, he's probably right there in the source of it. God,
That's
Very
God,
good.
well, God, and then Snoop.
yeah.
What role did Jay Leno play? I know he helped you get a scholarship and your first professional horn, correct?
Yeah. Jay Leno. Peace to Jay, man. I love you, Jay. I gotta hit you up, Jay. When I was in high school, I would ditch high school and not Lock. Before I went to Lock, I went to Santa Monica High for 2 years. I went
Yeah.
to Lock 10. I went to Lock actually two and I went to Lock second semester at 10th and then graduated throughout my senior year. So before that, I was in ninth grade. I used to ditch school a lot, never go to school. Man, fuck this shit. I would show up with my horn. I would do band class, practice 4 or 5 hours, wait till lunchtime and get the fuck out of there. But I would be ditching, catching the bus, and I would be going up to UCLA because the classes were so big in music theory. I could learn because my father was like, man, you got to get good fast. When you started when you was 13, you got to come on, man. I'm trying to get you on the road by 14. So I started
Wow.
ditching. And I would go up to UCLA because I had some older friends up there, and the classes were like, at that time, 60, 70 people, certain courses. So
Wow.
a professor technically wouldn't really be able to really spot you. So I was
Yeah.
sneaking the class. I was taking all the music theory classes, music education, composition classes at UCLA my whole ninth grade year of high school till I was walking one day. And then I got caught, ditching school, and I ended up being in some trouble with the law. But throughout that whole year of me ditching school, going to UCLA, I met Ralph Moore, saxophonist that played on the Tonight Show, and I said, man, I admire you. I would love to come to the show and just learn how to read those charts and learn how do you do that. I want to learn how to be a professional musician and still be able to play. And he said, yeah, man, come on to the show. And I would come to the show almost every other day. I would ditch and go to Jay Leno's show, then go to UCLA and go back home. And then I got cool with Jay. Then when I got in high school, I started going to school finally. And I started getting all these scholarships my way. Ralph Moore said, yo, man, Jay want to help you out. He want to get you into any school you want to pay for. And he wants to buy you a saxophone, whatever horn you want to go to. No matter how much money, man, Jay wants to just help you out a little bit. Man, my mother was really excited and I was excited. And I said, yeah, and I could have went to any school I wanted to go to. And I decided to go to Cal Arts.
Mhm. Wow. That's
That's
a
amazing.
amazing story there, man. The Tonight Show. Um, let's move on a little bit. We talked about Quincy Jones. Um, another hero that you were able to meet is Herbie Hancock. Why don't you tell me about your first time meeting Herbie?
I met Herbie when I was 2 years. I met Herbie out the womb. My father was playing Herbie Hancock records and Miles Davis live records out the womb. So Herbie, just the spirit of Herbie was big in my household as a baby. Like it was his presence, and Miles' presence was so big in my household. Like, I mean, they was on the same level to us as Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and heroes like that. You know what I'm saying? Same influence and power to shift things and make things from negative into positive. And so he was a very powerful force in my house. But I got with Herbie personally shortly after I finished working on this album with Kendrick Lamar called To Pimp a Butterfly. I finished To Pimp a Butterfly, and Herbie, I got wind to that album, and I had heard a rumor that he was looking for me for like 2 months. People were, man, I think Herbie Hancock mentioned you, and Herbie, and I was like, man, shut the fuck up. Stop pulling my leg, man. Stop. Fucking Herbie Hancock's not looking for me. Like, what the fuck. And then my friend Robert Glasper was in, I think Japan or Korea. Korea. He was in Korea. The following week, we met in Japan. He was in Korea, and he said, man, I'm backstage. And Herbie Hancock ran up to me saying, do you know Terrace Martin? I need to get with Terrace Martin. And he said, Herbie has all your music on his phone. And so he said, I'm going to give him your number. I said, give him my number. Herbie called me. He sent me an email. Hey, when I get back in town, we should talk. I didn't hear from him for a month. And then Robert called me to come to a session at Capitol, and he surprised me with it. It was Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter sitting right there at my heroes. These are like some of the these are like the gods to me, you know. I mean, every person is a god, but these were the guys I really never thought I would ever. I never thought I was worthy enough to even be in their type presence, the type of geniuses they are, you know. So it was, it was like, whoa, it was heavy. It's still heavy. I just left Herbie on Sunday. Every time I see him, it's heavy. It's heavy. He's 80 years old. He has a lot of life to live, and he's been part of modern music every turn it's made since the 60s. That's a big deal. That's not a hit record. Like that's.
Well, I first learned of you from the Rocket song, as a youth. I mean, everybody that was into breakdancing loved that song. And I didn't know his genius at the time. I just thought, oh, wow, Herbie Hancock, Rocket. And then years later, I was like, wow, Herbie Hancock is his musical genius.
Yeah. It's incredible. What's deep is that, and that's why you just explained what makes Herbie Hancock special to me, one of his many qualities. You didn't know the genius of the Rocket, but Rocket was genius because it broke into your home.
Yeah.
And this was a genius that had the first hip hop video on MTV. Like he was the first to do that. So every corner, he's been that guy in somebody's makeup of who they are with music and what they love. He's been that in my father in the 60s, my uncles in the 70s, my other friends since the 80s, me since the 90s. It's like he's been this pillar, this art all these times. And that's why I really wanted to get with Herbie. And I haven't stopped bugging him since. You know what I'm saying?
What's funny is that I from that song I even heard, that was the first time I heard scratching on that song. So it was just like, wow.
Yeah. Hip hop. So that's why I'm back with Herbie, and we putting this album together. We it's almost done, but it's definitely the true fusion, not only of the jazz and hip hop, but of the world, because it's a world out here, and it's all kind of different music that lend their hand to each other. It's West African music, East African music. It's all kind of different music there in the world. So, and we the one thing Herbie did do, I love him for. I've been on tour for years, but he really took me around the world a few times, in a private jet, private jet, with the best of champagne and everything.
Wow.
But I'm saying that to say his level of art is so high. Like he believes in traveling comfortable, because he says, man, there's no way you could get up and play that freedom expression of music and be uncomfortable. We have to make sure we're comfortable. So he believes in getting your rest, sleeping, eating right. It's like it's just him, man. He's another chapter in my book. Snoop, Quincy, Herbie, these are like huge chapters in my book. I mean, if I ever write a book, I don't know, shit.
You met a Beatle, correct?
Oh, Paul, yeah, that's my homie.
Sir Paul.
What's up with that? That's my guy.
I didn't even know that till recently. Well, what's the word on that, Sir Paul McCartney?
Paul, yeah, man. Me and Paul was working out the same studio. He was really working with one of my mentors and my dear friend, Mr. Greg Kirsten, which is amazing jazz pianist and a record producer. He produces records like all the Adele records and Paul McCartney records, but he's from LA. Greg Kirsten. Actually one of the first white musicians I ever seen come to South Central and play black music in the early 90s at the time of the riots and everything like that. But that's a whole different another conversation. But I met Paul through Greg Kirsten, and I was working with Herbie at the time. And Herbie and Paul knew each other, so we hooked them up. They started talking. Then I just started hanging with Paul and going in there, just hanging with Paul. And just, hey, Paul's my guy. You feel me? And we play. Oh, I took Paul to go meet Kamasi. I said, hey, Paul, you gotta come here. Hey, Paul, you gotta come here, my friend Kamasi. And Kamasi, I walk in the door. Kamasi said. I said, hey, P, meet Kamasi.
Incredible,
you definitely
man.
have a big jazz. It's clearly heavily influenced by jazz, and jazz no doubt paved the way for hip hop. But what would you say is something hip hop has taught you about jazz that you wouldn't have known otherwise?
I mean, hip hop is the like my father put jazz in my spirit. You know, the creator put it in my spirit, but it didn't get woke up until I was 12, 13, listening to Tribe Called Quest. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So hip hop, without hip hop, I wouldn't be even fucking with jazz. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop was the gateway because hip hop is so lending and so forgiving and so accepting of every walk of life and everything, of every nationality, every color, every size, hip hop is the most accepting art that the universe has ever seen, ever. So hip hop, my father put it in me, but then hip hop gave it to me in a way that I could say, oh, wow, that feels good. And I just started digging because I just told Q-Tip this the other day on the phone. I just started digging. I started digging through Tribe Called Quest, and then Premier, Guru, and Pete Rock, and all these artists that I was loving at the time. Even a lot of it was a lot of hip hop on Yo MTV Raps when I fell in love with the saxophone. So Yo MTV Raps and Video Soul was out, and all these different different videos. Videos was big in hip hop. Huge, like videos. You couldn't wait to watch a fucking video in the 90s. Y'all remember that shit? You couldn't
Yeah.
wait to watch a fucking video. So it was easy for me to see the music through hip hop. I could look at the video and see the music. I could see what's going on, and I was able to put picture to music in my brain. And now I was able to go back to the jazz and put picture to that. Now I could understand it because not only I could hear it, but I could see it. So hip hop was the exercise for me to dig deeper in my self-conscious and myself and my Black history with music, my theory, my classical history, really understand Europe's place in art, really understand Africa's place in art, really understand the Spaniards, like all these different things where different levels of art come from. Like why, what was the art that the Greeks was like, and like all just the hip hop helped me loan my spirit opened up because of hip hop, and jazz happened to sneak through, and all it did was connect with my spirit because I already had it in me as a kid, and it just morphed into what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go back to people here. You got to meet President Obama. That must have been an incredible experience. Why don't you take me back to meeting Obama for the first time, please?
Herbie called me about International Jazz Day a couple of years ago. It was Prince had just no Prince. I think with the Prince. No, Prince didn't. Did Prince just die? I don't remember, but I know we had to do a Prince tribute. But we went to the White House because we had to do the International Jazz Day, and that was at the White House. That was the last time you ever seen so many soulful motherfuckers at the White House.
Yeah,
that was the last time. They had a lot of rules. They had, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. I went there, man. I took all kind of towels from the bathroom. I didn't know if I was ever gonna come back, and it's the last term of the Black president. I was like, you know what, man? Fuck this, man. I'm enjoying myself.
I'm gonna take
a napkin, towel, So it came time for us to have dinner. So a few of us went up to his quarters where they serving dinner. Just not everybody, just a few of us. And I happened to be one of the few. Me and Robert Glasper, Herbie Hancock, Sting, Morgan Freeman, so many, a few, maybe like 10, 12. And Obama was meeting everybody, taking pictures. And then Robert Glasper said, I'm going to tell Obama that you produced his favorite song on To Pimp a Butterfly. How much a dollar costs? He had just tweeted that how much a dollar costs is his favorite song, And I said, nah, man, let's just take the picture, eat, and let's just hang out. So Robert, you got to know Robert's very open. He don't give a fuck about. I think Robert is a rapper that loves beef hidden in a jazz musician because this motherfucker doesn't care about nothing. So Obama walks by, he taps Obama in the shoulder, said, "Hey, this is Terrace Martin." Obama said, "Yeah, how you doing?" And then he says he wrote How Much a Dollar Costs. He wrote and produced that,
Because you had just done that under a different name.
Yeah, I did that under the name Love Dragon. Me.
Yeah, so he didn't know that Terrace Martin. He didn't make that connection yet of
Yeah,
who you
yeah,
are now.
and you know, Joseph Lineberg as well was with me on that composition. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So he didn't know. Then he said, "Oh wow, man!" He called Michelle. He said, "Michelle, come here," and we took a couple of pictures. They took a picture with me. They took a picture on their phone with me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like chilling, and we was eating, talking the whole night. Then that same night, I had to play with Herbie with Aretha Franklin and Rhapsody. We flew out Rhapsody too, and I think that was Aretha's last performance. Man, God rest her soul. It was a Prince tribute, and she sang Purple Rain. I remember because she was like, "You better play the melody." She was on my head, Styles. She was on my head, Styles. I loved it though. Rest in peace to Soul Queen Aretha Franklin.
Forget a book. You could make a damn movie about your life, man.
Yeah.
You describing all this, I'm like, you can have cameo after cameo coming in.
Yeah.
It's been incredible.
It's, yeah,
But let's
it,
talk
it,
about
it
another
has.
person in your life that's played a big role. That's Kendrick Lamar. I remember back in 2010, I was sitting in your studio, and you asked me, Styles, what rappers out of LA are you feeling right now? First person out of my mouth, Kendrick Lamar. And I remember you walked over to your computer, you hopped on Twitter, and you said you hit him up on Twitter. And then he hit you back and he's like, let's work. And then all of a sudden, a week or two later, I'm at your house again, and he's there at your house. And you're recording. That's when you put us on the song. You shouted us out on the
Yep.
demo, both of our
Yep.
names on there. And we were all in
Yep.
the studio together that night. And from there, man, you guys have just taken the world by storm together.
It's been a fun ride, and we still riding. It's been
Yeah, yeah,
fun.
yeah.
We've uh we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. It's kind of surreal, but the reality always kicks in if we just have so much more work to do. It was so much more work to do. I think everybody's still on their first couple of steps. We have so much more work to do until it's more healing, more social healing going on. So it's like I know I'm thankful for everything, all the accomplishments, but at the same time, I know I'm still in the race, running, and
Mhm.
just trying to put a band-aid on this thing called hate around the world.
Yeah, but I think what's cool about you too is that you guys are kind of like really made for each other. You know what I'm saying? And, you with your artistic ways and him with his artistic ways, and it was kind of like I know you've worked with other artists before and you've produced before and you put out some great stuff, but with him it's kind of like it's elevated to a sense,
Yeah, yeah. I think, and you know what, with him, he just accepts you for what you are and who you are and how you are.
Hmm.
He's very accepting. So he's never been he doesn't try to micromanage the art. So many people try to micromanage the art. I don't work with people that micromanage the art no more at all, but that so many people are their own roadblocks in their art. They third and fourth and fifth and guess themselves, and they are, some people are that confident, are really that insecure, but hide it with fake confidence and think they know it all and miss out on learning things. I think in those rooms, me, Kendrick, Soundwave, Thundercat, and that whole little thing, I think is really everybody. The biggest ego in the room is the music. Nobody is trying to micromanage nobody's art. Everybody's just trying to throw as much paint as they can on the wall, and hopefully we can make this a picture with our fingers of the shape, but all the paint is there. It's dripped in everybody's paint. Now let's all take our time and do a shape, and let's not worry about what doesn't connect. Let's actually focus on what doesn't connect. Not worrying about it, and let's connect what doesn't connect instead of saying these things. But I think those concepts of life, of just being open to life, really go through those studio sessions with him. And that's why that music comes out on such a high level to me, because it's not even us, it's the spirit of the art. And when you let the spirit in, man, you just got to sit back and collect.
Hmm. Okay. Um, we were on the phone earlier and we wanted to speak on this, and I just want to make sure that you were okay with speaking on this. And does involve Kendrick Lamar. You two are involved in a lawsuit going on. What's up with that? For loyalty?
Yeah,
Okay. What's your take on that whole thing?
man, I really don't have much of a take of it. It's kind of like it's just kind of it's people, hey, people make up all kind of shit. It's I take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
I take the good with the bad. But the one thing I've never had to worry about is an idea and taking anybody's idea. Like
uh-huh.
that's one thing I'm blessed with the gift of is I can't get a lot of things right in my life, but I don't have a shortage of creative ideas.
Hmm.
So that's but that you know what? God bless everybody, man. God bless everybody. That's what
Hmm.
I want to say.
Okay, okay, fair enough. It just I just wanted to make sure that you got your word and your side out there.
It's
'Cause I
cool,
know
bro.
you,
Yeah.
and I know you don't ever steal ideas from anybody. Knowing you personally, you don't have to be honest. I mean, you've got enough things going on in your head that you don't have to steal from anybody. So,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate, and hopefully that gets resolved in a favorable manner for you.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, everything's gonna work out.
that's good stuff. So what's going on these days? What are you working
Huh?
on? What's going on in your life in these days in the studio and music and your company Sounds of Crenshaw?
Putting out a lot of records, man. Just putting out old fashioned style like Detroit, like Motown. We just putting out a lot of records with just the artists that we want to work with and that we love. We have, I'm just putting out a lot of records, man. Just trying to put out more art to inspire more people. That's all. I like the direction of where we're going with Sounds of Crenshaw. I feel like it's becoming more open to different things, and I feel like we're only focused on the different things. We're not focused on what is the trend. We kind of just focus on what could be looked at as a painting, as an art piece. Um, I think those things last a little longer in the universe. And if we're trying to inspire, we're trying to write what I would like to call audio books through music that will last forever and forever. So, something that makes the soul feel away.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay,
that's
good
that's
stuff.
kind of what we're focusing on.
Can you tell me about what about an album coming out? I mean, you have anything coming out next or for
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah. About to drop. We dropped a group called the Dinner Party. That's me, Ninth Wonder, Robert Glasper, and Kamasi Washington, and we dropped the album called Dinner Party from Dinner Party. But now we're about to drop the remix album on
Hmm.
October 2nd. That's called Dessert, and that features a lot of good surprises. We gotta wait for that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But then after that, yeah, I'm probably just gonna chill and just finish my album Drones and
Yeah.
drop Drones next year. But I'm producing a lot right now the rest of the year. Alex Isley, me and Alex Isley, she's from Los Angeles. We did an album together that I'll be dropping little hints of that. And then yeah, the next album at the Dinner Party, man, is the Sounds of Crenshaw Christmas album. Well, not really Christmas, but it's like holiday album.
Mhm. Okay. And I know that you are sitting on a lot of music because I have music from you from years back.
Mhm.
I mean, you got like a whole instrumental album that you're gonna do with people like with Pete Rock on it. That you never dropped. I get the lock. I remember we had some lock instrumentals that we were gonna drop.
Yeah.
Um, and then we never got around. The demo never dropped. So yeah, I know you got a lot. You're sitting on a lot of music still.
Yeah, I'm always creating. Every day I wake up, I'm trying to create something, something, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, so I'm trying to create everything except a problem. No, I'm peace out the problem, no pun intended, the problem. But I'm just creating. So I'm always
Yeah.
doing music, and I've always been kind of like that since I first started doing beats at like 9, 8, 9 years old. I would always do 6 or 7 beats a day and two this, and then I don't do that as much no more, but I'm always creating something, man. It's just music. It's just comes out of me. So if it does that, a good friend of mine and a mentor, man, by the name of Warren Campbell from Los Angeles,
Yes.
youth producer. Please look him up, Warren Campbell, one of my mentors and my big bros. He said, if you are a recording artist, your job is to record. And when you have a job, you go at least 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been in my brain ever since. I put the other shit around that and build my own thing, but it's like I feel like that's my job, to get up and record. So why not? If that's my job, like that's my job. Like get up and make a song. Yeah, I'm gonna make songs. I'm gonna make them as long as the creator allows me to keep breathing, able to make music. I'm gonna make music till it's over. I would do this if I would do this if I did anything else. If I was a security guard at a toy store, I would do this. If I was a lawyer, I would do this. So I'm just thankful for my position, and I'm very appreciative, of everybody that's a part of it.
Good stuff.
Well, definitely an honor speaking with you, and I think to your point of creating great art and socially conscious stuff, I want to say congratulations on the Dinner Party project. I really, really enjoy it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And one question I had, kind of combining that, there's that Freeze Tag song on there, and then you also did Pig Feet with Denzel Curry, and both songs sound very different. They both address, kind of a similar topic of, police brutality and, just kind of the race relations in this country at this time. What was the mindset of making those two records? I imagine there's some of them are very similar, but some of it's very different.
Man, I wanted to get the same message out, but you kind of it's like it's a lot of different. I look at music like language. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different languages. I mean, like I used to, I was so mad at my parents for not never teaching me Spanish, because I believe if you grow up in Los Angeles, California, that should be mandatory for everybody to speak Spanish, because that's the language to me, But even if you don't understand Spanish and a person don't understand English in LA, it's like a weird way we all communicate. Everybody know when to step back from somebody. Everybody know when they greeting somebody. Everybody know when everybody's away. So that is the same message. It's just different sets of languages. It's like one is aggressive, one is spoon feeding, but it's still the same message. It's like they both saying fuck the police, but the Dinner Party version is saying fuck the police, but fix the police. Fix them. They need to be fixed, fixed. The system needs to be fixed. Everything is broken, fix them, So it's like those messages, but just different palettes of music. One is jazzy and, you could dance to it, but later on, but you like, whoa. They told me, put my hands up. You like, oh, shit. The other one, you got to be a certain type of person to listen to Big Feet,
Dope stuff. The last time I interviewed you, it was at the City Hall. You were getting an award for by the City Council, you're being recognized by the City of Los Angeles. And I interviewed you, and you gave me hints about an upcoming Kendrick Lamar album coming out at that time. And sure enough, it did. Can you drop any hints this time?
I don't know, man. I honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. Everybody's so dealing in our section. Everybody's really, with their families and studying and staying healthy and staying aware and just making sure that when it is time to be heard, it's heard with the right ear,
Okay. All right. I'll accept that. Terrace, thank you so much for joining us, man. As always,
Styles, I love you, man.
Yeah.
I've always
family right here,
I honor you, Styles. I appreciate you, man. You've been a pillar of the community for so many years, man. You've seen everybody in their natural habitat. You've seen everybody when it's time to cut it on, and you've dealt with, you know, like I say, man. I mean, it's a crazy time in life, but you know, you've dealt with one of the most aggressive coast in hip hop ever, and that's the West Coast. You know, that's not to down anybody, but the mentality in the West Coast is so different than anywhere around the world. It's the nicest, most beautiful place that you will get your fucking head tore off. And that's the mentality that we all grow up with. So to be able to maneuver through that tells a lot about your character. And man, I salute you. I love you, brother. You know, we talk off the thing, and I want to say, hey man, you are the cat, and document it, and let's talk offline about this documentary that I would love to produce. You know,
That's something else we're gonna talk about. That's you know, that's some news for a different time. But man, it's gonna be exciting. I can't wait for that. Man, if you could shout us out, please, before we end off. WestCoastStyles.com, man. It's the new revolution.
WestCoastStyles.com, WestCoastStyles.com. I mean, what else more do we need to say? WestCoastStyles.com. If you don't know, you better get hip. It's the foundation to where everything starts out here on the West Coast. I don't know about anywhere else, but on the West Coast, WestCoastStyles.com.
There it is. Terrace Martin, thank you for joining us, man. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, man. Hey, man, peace out, man. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Oh, for sure.
All right,
Peace.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Okay, we have some fabulous live music later on, but right now, here's the kind I prefer.